Hello, beautiful souls. How are you today? It's May 30th, 2023. Can you believe it? Um, let it go. That's the topic for today. You know, when we go through our life, some of us feel like we're just untethered balloons. We have really no rhyme or reason to what we do. We just kind of go where the wind blows us. And then there's others that are meticulous in their planning and try to think about all the different factors into all the different potential decisions that can be made and put that plan in motion. And then there's me. I started out planning to the 10th degree of everything and then realized that a lot of that time and energy I put into planning was wasted because the plan is really set for you before you incarnate when your soul contract. So you've got some free will choices to make along the way that can turn away from source creator or can lean into source creator. And we all have those choices and I'm not going to get into all the specifics of that. I have other videos that really cover those things in detail. But I will say that I have learned that it's best to not make decisions in the moment because those are usually made based on your ego and emotion that has really not been thoroughly felt. So that like first level emotion of excitement or fear or anger should not be the driving emotion to make a life altering plan. Who's guilty of that? Me, for sure. And that's okay. That's how I learned. That's how some of the very, very most profound lessons I learned were encountered that way. And that's life, right? You can't avoid all the pitfalls and you can't avoid all the lessons because otherwise you get to come back and do this again. So you got to find the path, the steps on the path that are lit up for you. So when you're going through life, sometimes you connect with people and you can't imagine taking a step in any direction without them because they make you feel really supported and loved and like they're the cheerleader you always wanted and you're their cheerleader and everything's just rainbows and butterflies, right? Well, then things change. Things change for you, things change for them. Your journey is not their journey. And there comes a time where you two may have been holding hands, walking down the same path for a long time. And the pull is going to be for you to go one direction. And that pull is not going to be felt by the other party. And we got to let it go. We got to let them go. So all the talk we talk about shadow work and cutting the attachments to the matrix. Well, that sounds kind of vague, right? And big. Let's bring it down to the microcosm. People, places, and things. What people, places, and things in your life right now used to make you feel amazing, alive, validated, authenticated, loved, appreciated. And now the feelings are completely different. So now you have the longing of what used to be, the nostalgia of it. And I know many people kind of get stuck in that nostalgic moment, right? That moment when they go back in their mind and they think about how great it was and they just would do anything to have that back. That's low vibrational thinking. And that's guilt, shame, blame, who caused it to go awry and derail. All those things are not productive for your soul evolution. Am I saying you got to be a hard ass and you can't feel it? No, but just don't live there. Don't put in a change of address to nostalgia lane and just stay there, because that's not what's best for our soul. So you've heard the saying before, people come into your life for a reason or a season. And that's very true. We don't always have a 10, 20, 50-year trajectory with some of the people that were most profoundly impacting our lives. But we have that one interaction that was significant. So as you're doing what's best for your own soul evolution, that means you are keeping your energy field clear. You are doing your very best to always choose the highest and best timeline for yourself. That is the guidance, right? The guidance comes into you, for you, from your team. So your guidance is not the same for the person sitting next to you, or someone across the street, or someone across the world that you really are infatuated with. They all have a different path, their own individual path. Now, those paths may intersect. There may be lessons that can be learned throughout that relationship time, but it's not necessarily for you to say, oh, this is amazing for me. Won't you try it too? Because I think it's going to be the exact best thing that you need in life. Because that's not necessarily what their life path means. So that brings me to the next point. Just because you have good intention, and just because you are coming from the right place, I guess is the best way to say it, you can't will or want someone else to be where you want them to be. That's not how it works. Now, when it comes to just, making a choice, like if they get to the fork in the road and they come to you for advice, or you feel like they are in need of a bit of guidance, you can offer guidance, but it's not up to you to say, this is what you're supposed to do. I feel it. I feel like you're supposed to do this, because it's your feelings and you're projecting your feelings onto them. So what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel alive and appreciated and safe and secure, may be infringing upon their path, their individual lesson that they need to learn, their soul contract. That's not for us to decide. So as a culture, we have been lied to about everything, basically. But what I want to say here is that just because you really feel in your soul of soul, heart of heart, that someone should do something, it's up to them to decide to do it. Just like shadow work. We all have shadow work. I'm still doing shadow work. We will always do shadow work to a degree. And just because it sucks doesn't mean it's going to kill you. It's not. It's actually going to open up many, many doors in your life that you thought were closed. But at the same time, I will say that it takes resolve and it takes faith. And you have to have the perseverance to go through the steps of your own shadows and uncover what is under here bothering me. Why is this triggering me? Why am I upset about this? Why can't I stand this anymore? You have to determine that. It's not for somebody else to determine. So if someone literally right next to you is going through something and you're absolutely not feeling it, like they're here and you're like up here, you can't feel what they're feeling, you can't see what they're seeing, you don't resonate with what their reality is, that's perfectly fine. You're on a different timeline than them. Again, perfectly fine and expected. We may all end up at the same destination, but the journey is very individual. And when we say we have to be able to disconnect from the matrix attachment, that also means, it doesn't just mean like a device, a phone, or coffee, or I don't know, an expensive car. that's not necessarily what it means. That is some of the things it means, but it also means the things that make you feel really content, so content that you might not want to have the friction that is the catalyst for your own growth, which is why staying in that nostalgia lane, just thinking about how the good old days used to be, doesn't get you anywhere. It's not a positive, high vibrational emotion or energy to exude. You just basically spin your wheels. There's nothing to create there, you see, because it's already happened. It's in the past. Our energy has to be focused on the now moment. The past is absolutely the past. Okay. No one's going to go back and recreate it. It's done. The events and the consequences of the events are done. The future has yet to be determined. There's some high probabilities based on your prior actions and whatnot, but it has yet to be determined. All that we can do, and the very best thing for us to do, is to focus our energy on the now moment. In this now moment, what is in my highest and best good? And when I say that in the most spiritually sovereign way. I don't come to that statement in a heart space of selfishness, of not being concerned about anyone else. I am, but I'm also very aware that I am the only one responsible for myself. I'm the only one tasked with maintaining my sovereignty, holding on to the power that I have reclaimed and not allowing it to be degraded by other people's decisions. And that's where those boundaries come in. So I've said this before and I'll say it again as many times as I need to. When you're on this journey, it's a lot of work. And you're on the valley floor looking up more than you're at the top of the peak, for sure. But it is absolutely worth it. It's worth the work. It's worth the heartache. It's worth the tears. It's worth the mind-blown moments that you never saw coming. All of it is absolutely worth it. I've met amazing people along this way, people that I wouldn't be here right now in this now moment had I not met them. The cause and effect, if you will, has been palpable. And many of them have moved on to do different things, made choices that I do not resonate with, and I no longer feel in alignment with them on the level that I was. And so I let them go. Was it sad? Yes. Did it make me wish that maybe their decisions were a little different? For a minute, honestly, yeah. But that was a selfish part of me. That was the attachment to the relationship that I had with them. And that's an attachment. That's an attachment to a person, place, or thing that holds you from your growth. So just because we in this community of souls trying to evolve to our very, very best and the most clear, highest good intention in source, in alignment to source creator, doesn't mean we don't have our moments where we think, man, this sucks. And it's really, when you look at it, it's an attachment, just like any other attachment. I had envisioned events taking place with them in the future, and those will probably not happen. And that is what I had to let go of. That's okay. That's okay. It's the now moment that matters. So I go back and within, I get in touch with my own soul spirit guides, my team. What do I need to learn from this? I get that. Where do I go from here? I get some options. I have to feel my way through. Again, free will choices at play. Each time we're faced with people, places, and things in our environment who are doing what they want, feel, and need to do, perfectly fine. We also have the opportunity to choose the highest and best timeline for ourselves. We just have to have that conversation. If you don't ask, or you do ask and you don't listen, then whose fault is that? So if you're allowing yourself to kind of be pushed around in the decision making because you haven't asked the tough questions, or you did and you didn't like the answer, then that is really for you to determine. That's for you to deal with. That becomes another layer of your own shadow. You know the things that you need to do. It takes a little bit of bravery and a whole lot of faith to just take the step. Ask the question, what is in your highest and best good? What is the next step for me for my highest and best timeline? And then you, in gratitude and love and positivity, wish those other people, places, and things well, and thank them for everything that was shared, because there's lessons that come along the way in all things. And then you let it go. You let it go. That means we're not living on nostalgia lane. We don't pack our bags and go back there every chance we get, because that was when life was good. It was a good moment in time, but that time is in the past. And what we have to focus our energy on is the now moment, so that we manifest the next highest and best timeline in the future. And that future is for the greater good of all humanity. The more of us that take this trajectory where we are choosing the highest and best timeline as a collective, that is a collective raise in vibration that cannot be stopped. That's why it's so important not to get bogged down in the nostalgia of something that you really need to let go for the greater good of your own soul evolution, but also the collective. So when you are saying, I'm here because I want to make a difference, I want to do more with my life, my energy, my goodness, my skills, my abilities, I know that there's more than I can contribute. All that starts within yourself. You do have a lot to give, but you have to start by healing your own inner child, forgiving yourself from any relationships that you had that maybe were not so great, but also thanking them for showing you the lessons you needed to learn, and then letting them go so that you can have room for the goodness that is coming your way. Because there's goodness every single day that fills in the spaces of the shadows that we clear out. But if we never work through those shadows, and there's rooms in our soul stay full of boxes of things that we never wanted to deal with, there's no room for the goodness. And the goodness is going to just wash over you and be gone. There's nowhere for it to set up. There's nowhere for it to blossom. So we have to make space within ourselves first before we start giving what we don't authentically have to others. So we can make the world a better place once we've made our inner child, our soul, our own energy fields, the best, highest possible timeline for ourselves. And again, it takes a little bit of courage and a whole lot of faith. You have people that will come into your life because they specifically are crossing your path to teach you a lesson. It may not be a joyful lesson. It may not be a lesson that doesn't leave some scars behind. Lesson nonetheless. Lesson that your soul needed to evolve to the next phase. So we are thankful. We are in gratitude. If you have trouble being in gratitude for the people, places, and things that have crossed your path, that have made your life not so fabulous, but also gave you strength and reminded you of who you were and opened the door for you to take your power back, we have to give them gratitude. We have to give that person, place, or thing gratitude for showing us the lesson that we needed on a soul level, and then let it go and move on down the road. Take the next step on that light up path that has been divinely led by Source Creator and Mother Sophia. So every day, there are new challenges. That's not unique to me. That's not unique to you. It's for all of us. Every day there are new challenges. Every day we have the opportunity to choose to course correct in alignment to source creator and the highest and best timeline or not, whatever that looks like. I take my mission and I take my guidance very seriously. I look to always course correct. And when I find myself making a um, a deviation, when I find my mind thinking about things I shouldn't think about, or giving emotional energy to something that is in the past, I stop it immediately. I thank the nostalgic memory for that lesson. I let it go again. I ask for healing and I move on. Now, if you've been around for a little while, you understand we have a lot of support. You have angels and archangels, guardian angels that you're born into. You have fire dragons. You have your ascendant masters that come to you that give you specific guidance because they know what you have ahead of you. You have source creator. You have many, many guides. So all we have to do is ask for help. And that's hard for a lot of us because we're used to kind of being hung out to dry and it just being like you taking care of stuff, right? That being said, ask for help. Ask your spirit team. Go out in the yard, put your feet on the grass. If you live in an apartment building, go to a park, find a spot that's clear, put your feet on the grass, call in your support team, and just tell them, I don't know what I need exactly, but I'm asking for your help. And you do know what I need. And I accept it. I open myself up to that and I accept it with gratitude. You will be surprised. It has been that dragon energy, that dragon love, and that healing that they have has been miracle after miracle for me in moments where I knew what needed to be done, but I just didn't have the energy to go through it again because I'd already done it several times. And I just asked for that healing to be taken by way of my dragons in my sleep. Heal me, integrate that knowledge I need, and let me move on with the weight of it off of me. The next morning I wake up and the weight is gone. I cannot recommend that enough. I have videos about dragon energy. I have another one with a dragon image behind me. They're really good information. And you can also find it, a lot of other people have covered it as well. Let's see. Oh, so I have a video about taking inventory of your life, basically. So if you're feeling that you are drained, you feel sick after you've been around a certain place or a certain group of people, and you've noticed this over time. This wasn't a one-off. Every time you encounter them or it, you feel bad. They are taking your energy. That is a sure sign that there are energy vampires attaching cords to your chakras, and by way of that attachment, siphoning off your energy. So if you suspect someone, this is super, super easy to do. All you do is block them by name from sending any energy to your energy bodies, period. You just ask your higher self and your team to block any energy from so-and-so or from whatever place from sending any energy toward your 12 energy bodies in any way, shape, or form. And I redo that every 24 hours until you can cut the cord and heal the attachment. And so when we cut cords and heal attachments, we're cutting cords and healing attachments to things that are not serving us, that are draining us, that are not in our highest and best good. So it's like making a correction on a piece of paper. You erase it, it's gone. And then you go, but I thought I kind of liked how that looked. And then you write it down again. Well, you just recreated the cord and the attachment. That's another downside of like going to nostalgia lane. When we go there in our thoughts, we're inviting them back in. They're gonna know that energy feeling and they're gonna come right back in that open door that you just opened through your memories. So that's why when I say we manifest what we think, you can't spend all your time thinking about the what ifs of the future and the has-beens of the past. because that is what you will manifest, more of the same. You want to be in the now moment, thinking and envisioning your highest and best timeline, and knowing what that is for you is key. You have to go within. You have to have these conversations. You have to trust the answers that come to you and work through it. And it's a process. But if you're curious and you want some help, support, some empathy, some compassion in going through this journey, please come visit us in Healing Disclosures on Telegram. We're happy to have you. Again, there's only 2 requirements. You have to be in possession of a soul, and that soul needs to be in alignment with Source Creator. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a great day.